I just want to show you guys something really crazy. On November 2nd, I did a tarot reading on my desk here, and I didn't understand 3 of the cards that were in this reading. So I just kept them there, and I was like, I'm going to figure this out later in the week. Aphrodite was insulting Trump. Okay, so I am not kidding when I say I did this reading on November 2nd, before the elections, and I did this reading with Aphrodite, and the reason that I did it is because I actually, the day before, had something happen in my love life that was just not too great, not a big deal now, but there were 3 cards in here that I did not understand at all. And so I left it on my desk because I was like, I'm going to figure this out later in the week. Like, I just don't have the time right now. I've been putting, and I've been thinking through this like all week too, and I'm like, these still don't make sense. Until yesterday. So I sat down and I started writing notes. And here was my first observation. Card number 1 is the Queen of Pentacles. For those of you that don't know, Queen of Pentacles, and this is the card that I drew for it. Queen of Pentacles represents a mother figure, and Pentacles represents a suit of earth. And the card that I drew on top of it, and I was really confused about this because I was like, what the hell does that have to do with Queen of Pentacles? Was anger. Mother Earth is angry. That was quite a literal. I've been seeing a lot of things on TikTok about deities that are upset. Mine are. I know that much. But Mother Earth. Sorry, I heard my dog out there. The second card I drew was the 5 of Cups, and it's kind of obvious what that one means. And then I drew Aries, or sacrifice, with it. 5 of Cups really represents like a loss, grief, feeling hopeless, absolutely hopeless. I have my book open right here, and the first thing that I read was letting go of hope, but also feeling regret, loss. I'm kind of like cross-referencing here. And then sacrifice, obviously meaning that we sacrifice something during this election. Kamala, maybe. Okay, here's the really funny one. Last 2 were the Queen of Swords and Majesty. Now this one caught me last night because I was like, what could that mean? Trump is a Gemini. Queen of Swords. Some background on this card. Swords is a suit of air, and Gemini is an air sign. But the Queen of Swords is, there's 4 queens in the whole tarot deck, and the Queen of Swords is the queen that pretends to be masculine, but in true reality is not that much. So she tries to be that masculine figure, but she is still sensitive, and she's not the King of Swords. And Majesty. Aphrodite called Trump a pussy, basically, is what happened, is what we're looking at here. Because we have Majesty now, which obviously, dictator, let's be honest, and Queen of Swords. So that was my favorite part. But to everybody who's been like, are the old gods really upset about this? Yeah. Because this was a tarot reading I did a week ago. And we are seeing Queen of Swords, which, like I said, is the only queen that's like almost masculine, and Majesty. So, just wanted to share that with the internet because I thought it was interesting, and I figure you would too. Thank you. Bye.
So we all woke up at 4 a.m. while the ballots were being counted. Here's what it means. I've been posting videos about this, so go back and watch to catch up. And yes, I'm still in my bed, unwashed hair with a filter. I'm still recovering from my beauty treatment. But there's no time. We're going to be real here. So I've been a professional psychic medium for 8 years. I'm also a trance channel, and I'm an energy anchor. Again, watch my previous video to get more details. That video has gotten over 100,000 views, and there are thousands of comments from people around the country, maybe even around the world, that all said the same thing. We were woken up in the night, eerily around 4 a.m. I've read every single one of those comments, and here I'm going to tell you what it all means. The short of it is, we were called to anchor in the same timeline. So many people are saying, I'm on the wrong timeline. No, here's the truth. The higher timeline where the divine feminine anchors in does include a supposed election of the male candidate, I'm not going to say his name, because his corruption needs to be revealed. And it needs to be so massive, so undeniable, and so chaotic that people who have been fooled by him can finally wake up and come out of the spell. So here's the overview of what people were experiencing. Some of us were woken up with a feeling of dread. Some of us were physically vomiting, purging. Others were just in fear and panic. And then on the other side of things, you had people who were woken up from dreams, where they saw her winning, where they heard her winning, where they saw certain states flip and go blue, where they saw a map of the United States. So many of us were tuned into the timeline that Kamala Harris is the winner. And there's another subset of people who were actually feeling the energies and who were repeating mantras. I have a psychic friend who in the night, she was calling in the directions, was calling the winds, calling the ancestors. A lot of us were doing whatever spiritual work we know how to do. And those of us who don't really do formal work, were doing our own thing. We were feeling the energies. We were holding on to hope. We were visualizing. We were praying. So why 4 a.m.? I don't know specifically. I kind of think in the general terms, because, we're all in different time zones. I think it's the fact that there's a huge synchronicity, that we're all seeing each other on TikTok and other places talk about this thing. And so it's catching our attention. 4 a.m., 4 a.m. What happened at 4 a.m.? This is what I know. As I said, this is the correct timeline. This is the higher timeline where the divine feminine wins. However, when people woke up and saw the results being called in his favor, we all started to panic, okay? We went into fear. We went into despair. There's a lot of heavy feeling, depressed energies today, a lot of fear about what's going to happen in the future. So if that feeling becomes the dominant feeling, it is possible for us to get off of the highest timeline and gravitate toward those other timelines with this heavy emotional energy. And so in the middle of the night, the call was sent out and we received it, whether in dreams, whether waking up. We either were feeling into the panicked energy or we were then being called to anchor in the highest timeline for enough of us to hold the energy, hold the vision, see the truth in our dreams, and now start to talk about it so that it can bring energy toward this timeline and anchor it in. So many of us also saw, whether in dreams or with our gut feelings or with our intuition, we're seeing that things are not as they seem, that there is fraud. And I know a lot of right-wing people are going to say, oh, you're just saying that because that's what he said. No, we feel it in our gut. We have our intuitive senses. Our guides are telling us, our visions are telling us. And now the evidence is starting to come out, as it will continue to come out in the coming days, weeks, and months. So if you want to know why you were woken up, you heard the call. You're not on the wrong timeline. Join us in holding the vision, holding the higher timeline, that the truth will come out, that the divine feminine will prevail. And if you're not ready to dive into hope, that's okay too. We don't do spiritual bypassing around here. If you're not ready to hold on to hope and joy, that's okay. Feel what you're feeling. Don't get caught in the thoughts. Don't spiral into panic. Don't think about, I got to move out of the country. Just feel the feelings. Let them move through your body. And when that has passed, when you're ready to join us in our hope, we're here and we're ready for you. This is not something that's going to be solved overnight. So my personal guidance has told me, stay off the media. I'm only on TikTok to respond to comments, and people are sending me a few videos that are saying the same thing. But I've told my husband, I don't want to hear anything from the media. I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to engage in a discussion about it. My guidance says to stay out of that because the momentum of that fear energy is very difficult to resist. So stay out of it. Don't look at it. We are going to hold the light, hold the vision that in the end, the light will win. And because this energy is being anchored, it has won. It just takes a while to see it unravel in the physical plane. I'm probably going to go live later today and maybe also tomorrow and make it a regular thing. Join me in meditation or do it on your own with others you know and love or just by yourself. We're going to visualize the outcome. We're going to see that the dark deeds are brought to light. We're going to hold the divine feminine leadership. It's time to rise.
There's something really unsettling about this election, and it's not just the fact that we're about to have a convicted felon in office. It is just like, with my spirituality, I do not feel like this is the end of it. My intuition is telling me this is not the end of it. I feel entirely too calm right now, and I remember this in 2016 very vividly. I was sick to my stomach, like so anxious. I could not do anything. I couldn't go anywhere. Like I was down bad, and this time I am in so calm. Like I've been sleeping fine. I've been able to do my work. I've been focused. Like I don't have a pit in my stomach. It just doesn't feel like this is the end of it. And I think that's because my intuition is telling me it's not the end of it. I need to know if any of my other spiritual girlies are feeling this. Like, do you feel like there's more going on, or do you feel like, okay, we just need to accept the fact that he's about to be our president? And it's just not a coincidence that like every astrologer, medium, psychic that I trust has said that Kamala has the chart to win, and that this new era that we're going into is female led. Like, I just don't feel like that's a coincidence that all of them have said the same thing. And they all said that this election is not just a vote and this is who gets elected. Like, there's so much more that goes on. And I personally just don't think that I can accept this until January and he's actually sitting in that office. And I don't want to sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist and like be that person that refuses to accept the election results, because I don't want to be associated with the other group of people that couldn't do that. But it just doesn't feel like it just doesn't feel like this is what happens, and this is what's going to be the end result. And a lot of the astrologers I follow have said a lot of the same dates to keep in mind, and just making sure that you're looking at what's going on. And in November 11th and 12th, November like 13th through the 17th ish, and then right before Thanksgiving. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Trump goes to court November 26th. So I will be keeping my eyes open for all of those things. And I just really am hopeful that this is not the end, but my intuition is also telling me that this is just not the end. So hopefully this gives you a little hope today.
This is your mom.
I feel like being a bitch today.
So did we collectively do a timeline shift? Because so many psychics were predicting that Harris was going to win, but Trump actually won. And if you're curious, I did a prediction with my friends who are also psychic. I knew that Trump was going to win, I just wasn't a part of the group that said it out loud. But why were there so many psychics that were tapping into the timeline of Harris winning? I think what's happening right now is that the veil is thinning, like a lot. So many of you guys have commented and come to me during our one-on-ones to tell me that reality feels like a dream. Sometimes you can't even differentiate what is the dream and what is reality. Also, some of you have been saying that the signs and synchronicities you see in your life, like repeating numbers at an all-time high to the point where you're starting to get a little scared. And you're also saying that your manifestations are coming in so much quicker. This means we're also jumping to a higher frequency or dimension, whatever you want to personally call it. So the fact that so many powerful psychics, whether you want to call them false prophets or not, why did they collectively tap into so many of them tapped into the timeline that Harris was going to win? And they were so sure about their predictions. They were even reading like astrological charts. Do you guys think the collective changed the trajectory and wanted Trump to win? Or do you think that there was another divine intervention being done and it wasn't just our energy? And before the comments are going to start pulling in, no, I don't support either side. I think they all work for the same entity, but we cannot ignore the impactful symbolism that these candidates have on our world history right now.
This message is for the witch community and the witch community only. If you call yourselves a devotee of Hecate, Aphrodite, Artemis, Ishtar, Athena, the Morrigan, any of them, and you voted for Donald Trump, keep their names out of your mouths forever. Because how can you worship Hecate, who protects women, who protects the marginalized, and vote for someone that wants to take women's rights away? how can you claim to worship Aphrodite, who represents feminine sexuality and love in all its forms, while voting for someone who is hateful and bigoted? Someone who wants to restrict bodily autonomy and female sexuality. Y'all are a disgrace. And for those that want to say, well, the gods are chill with it because my candle flames are chill, I got news for you, boo-boo. If the candle flames are still and not moving, their energy isn't present. And the reason why their energy is not present anymore is because they packed up and left your ass because you supported everything they stand against, and you voted against everything they represent. And that is the ultimate insult and disrespect to them. So when y'all blessings dry up, when your life goes to shit, don't call them.
All day, every day, therapist, mother, maid, nymph, then a virgin, nurse, then a servant, just an appendage, lip to attendant, so that he never lifts a finger. 24/7, baby machine, so he can live out his picket fence dreams. It's not an act of love if you make her, you make me too much labor.
The feel when we control your bodies. Hey bitch, we control your bodies. Guess what? Guys win again. Glass ceiling? Dude, it's a ceiling made of fucking bricks. You will never break it. Your stupid face keeps hitting the brick ceiling. We will keep you down forever. You will never control your own bodies. You will never.
Escucha las palabras de las brujas, los secretos escondidos en la noche. Los antiguos dioses invocamos ahora la obra de la magia oculta.
Dead men don't rape. Dead men don't rape. Dead men don't rape. We get so offended when I say dead men don't rape. Where is the hate? When I say women are dying. This is my body.
Alright, witches, listen up. We're cursing Trump today. Okay, this is the old folk magic curse, but I changed it up a little to work for these modern times. Okay, so back in the old country, witches used to take somebody's photo, or write the person's name down on a stone. Okay, get you some stones. And then they'd throw the stone into the river, or submerge the photo into the river. Now it's gotta be a river, okay? No lakes, no ponds. Cause you know these river spirits don't mess around. Alright, you don't want to piss off a river spirit. I mean, TLC said it best, don't go chasing waterfalls. Anyways, get your ass up and hex the patriarchy. Seems like nobody wants to curse the government anymore. It's all taxes and complacency. So get up, witches, we've got work to do. And there's no time like the present. Anyways, get yourself a stone. Write this symbol onto the stone, put somebody's name on the back, and then you just throw that heifer into the river. It's a very simple curse, very mindful, very demure. I do a little curse. I call upon the river spirits to drown my enemies. Okay, but who's next? I got plenty of stones to go around. Plenty.
All day, every day, therapist, mother, maid, nymph, then a virgin, nurse, then a servant, just an appendage, lip to attendant.